Hi everyone, so thank you for joining me again for the second part of our Andy Warhol project. And we set up our outline, we set up our basic artwork, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in our color. So the focus today is going to be making everything as vibrant as possible. We really want saturated color, which means it's very intense. It's the most color that we can add to our picture. And I'm going to, of course, give you choices. We all have different media or coloring tools at home right now to work with. So you can decide. If you have markers at home, that would probably be easiest to really get the most bright colors that we're looking for. But you can certainly do this with, any kind of, if you have some kind of paint, if you have crayons, if you have colored pencils, anything will work. So no worries there. The key is that we're looking at the brightness of the color. So try and pick the brightest ones you have. And please just make sure that every part of your work is colored in. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So Andy Warhol, as you'll see in some of the examples, really has colors that pop. His whole thing was about pop art, and the colors pop out. The colors really catch our eye and make us interested in the item, even though it might be, like we talked about, an everyday item. So as you remember, I worked on an iPad. Okay, I'm not going to color it in the usual grays of an iPad. Okay, I'm not going to choose that. I want to make it interesting and I want to make it fun. So I'm going to go ahead, I have all my markers laid out right here, and I haven't really decided exactly which colors I'm going to choose. I'm just going to kind of work through. So I'm going to start with this green, and I'm going to start by outlining the edge of my little rectangle here. Okay, and this will give me my little bit of a guideline here so I don't color beyond that, because I want the surrounding rectangles to be different colors. Okay, and then I'm going to just start in the corner, and I'm going to just color in all of the space around. Okay, and I'll just, continue, and I want this whole outside edge to be green. Now, just to show you some contrast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick bright orange for the neighboring or the rectangle next to my green. So I'm going to take my orange, and I'm going to do the same thing and kind of edge out my rectangle, just so I know where my limit is. And so my edge is really clean, and the colors are not blending together. I don't want them blended. And as you can see, I'm coloring in every bit of space. I don't have any patchy white space. Okay. So again, if you're working in crayon or a colored pencil, I just want to kind of show you the idea or the coloring technique to try and get this to match the same vibrance or intensity of the color. So here I have my orange colored pencil. So what I'll do is, if I don't have a marker, I just want to go in, and what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I'm holding the paper really steady, and I'm using the side, and I'm using a lot of strength, and I'm using a lot of pressure to make sure that I don't end up with a lot of patchy texture. I want it to be pretty smooth. Okay, so you can see I almost matched it. So no worries, if you're using colored pencil or crayon, you can still match that same intensity of color. Now, one thing I'm going to also show you, okay, is that within each iPad, so again, the whole thing is going to get colored. All right, just to give you an idea, I'll go back in and make sure all the edges are colored in so everything pops out. Okay, I would continue going along here, and we're just going to pretend that that's all done. And then what we'll do is these inside details, we want to pick a couple different colors that don't match, right? So I want to take maybe a purple and a blue, and I'm going to go in, and I'm probably going to color the buttons blue. And then I'm going to color the actual iPad in kind of this purpley lavender shade. Okay, so continue like that. And then we'll do the whole process throughout the whole paper. So again, the idea is to have everything be as multicolored as possible, as many colors as possible. So we want to use our complementary colors, which are opposite on the color wheel, or our colors that are adjacent. And just as a reminder, adjacent means that they are next to each other on the color wheel. So again, we're going to fill up our whole space, make sure everything is filled in, and then thanks for joining me.